plays a crucial role in our society, instilling a sense of responsibility in individuals to utilize it for sharing information with the public. There are instances when the government takes away that right, such as the Panama Papers, Juneteenth, the country of North Korea, and the Spanish flu. It is its right of the people to inform about their environment and the ongoing conflict affecting their country. Additionally, they must hold those in power accountable for any misinformation that they provide or for withholding important information from the public. There are multiple times throughout history that situations where the government does lie and control the media.
The Panama Papers were a massive leak of documents that revealed complicated but important issues like tax evasion, money laundering, and corruption. They revealed how the rich and politicians made use of secretive tax havens to hide their wealth and assets from legal financial liability and ethical standards. The leak, made up of more than 11 million documents from the Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca, outlined the financial moves and shady dealings of a lot of people, including a dozen current or past world leaders, 128 public officials, politicians, and hundreds of celebrities and wealthy people.
Juneteenth, celebrated on January 19th, marks a significant chapter in American history, the emancipation of enslaved individuals in the United States. It symbolizes hope, freedom, the relentless struggles for equality. News reporters faced limitations in sharing information. Vital updates about freedom were often kept hidden from enslaved individuals. Many slaveholders withheld news to maintain control, fearing rebellion. Reporters struggled against the censorship and danger, as spreading the truth could lead to severe consequences. This left many unaware of their emancipation until much later on. The delayed news of freedom served as a reminder of the power of spreading information.
North Korea is said to lie to all of its people. There are lots of stories and secrets that circulate the isolationist and dictatorship country. It is said that the government controls everything North Koreans see and hear. This is a very extreme example of the media being controlled and withheld by the government. In an ABC News interview with Yunomi Park, a North Korean defector, she says the words, "nothing to envy," are repeated consistently throughout the country. She describes how the government consistently lies to them, saying that the world is not a good place and that they should be grateful for living in such an amazing country, that North Korea is the best at everything. They would fake events and control the media completely. It is also said that North Korea denies its people access to media from other countries. If someone is found with perhaps a foreign movie or piece of literature, they could be put to death. Many are publicly executed for the consumption or spreading of South Korean films. The government has responsibility of giving people access to information and media without the interference of it. The government of North Korea stripped the rights of its citizens and the press. The people of North Korea and the rest of the world deserves to know what happens in the government. They have the right to freedom of the press without interference from the government. Nor should the government be withholding information from its citizens.
The Spanish flu was the second most deadliest disease in history. The flu did not originate in Spain. Spain was one of the first places to announce the outbreak of the flu. The Spanish flu of 1918 was a devastating pandemic. It infected a third of the world's population and caused millions of deaths. Its spread was rapid, similar to a wildfire, impacting communities globally. Government and healthcare informers often downplayed its severity to avoid public panic. Officers frequently silenced reporters of outbreaks. Due to the lack of information, people were not being treated properly. Ultimately, the Spanish flu taught a valuable lesson about public health, communication, and the importance of transparency in a crisis.
our examples in our paper of like with the government withholding information is like the influenza epidemic during World War I and the Pentagon Papers being leaked in the Vietnam War. Do you believe that there is a different standard of reporting information during times of conflict, or should it remain the same?
So the government has always changed how information works during a time of conflict. Abraham Lincoln did it during the Civil War. He greatly changed the rights of newspapers, particularly in border states, to say to write what they were writing. Now, the government will always argue there's a strategic interest in it. I mean, I'll give you an example. Like when we're covering a standoff where there's like somebody in a house with a gun, the police beg us to not show a live picture of the building because they don't want the person to be watching and know the positions of all the police officers. Because just to be frank, they could shoot them from if they're watching on TV, if they're looking at a live picture. That is something that I believe TV stations should respect. You never want to put somebody in jeopardy based on what you're saying, certainly imminent jeopardy. I mean, if the truth is the truth, but there's a point where it's clearly a present danger to a police officer, and you're not going to do that. The government will say, by you reporting on troop movements, you're jeopardizing your country. I believe in not jeopardizing the safety of people out there. But there is a point where, okay, well, when George H.W. Bush in 1990 and 91 during the Gulf War banned newspapers from taking pictures of caskets coming home. In my view, that does not jeopardize the safety of a soldier. I hate to say it like this, but the soldier's already dead. He was trying to keep public support for his war high. In my view, that goes too far in restricting the press because it's a picture. How can a picture that's published in a newspaper the next day, how can that truly jeopardize the country's objectives? Clearly, the truth is that casket was there. That it's a hard line. It's not always easy to figure out where the line is. But in that case, well, it's a picture of a casket getting off of a plane. Like, does that need to be restricted by a government that professes to love the First Amendment? Like, to me, that was a little far.
The media is a vital part of our community. It keeps people informed and notified of the current events in the world. Too many times, this right is taken away. During Juneteenth, slave owners withheld the fact that slavery was abolished from slaves. When the Spanish flu occurred, so did the death of millions because they weren't aware it existed. When the Panama Papers were released, justice was served because lies and hidden secrets were spilled. The government of North Korea controls the media and keeps their people in the dark. The government must allow us to exercise our right to utilize the media without meddling in it. They have a responsibility to give the power to the people. When the government isn't honest to its civilians, it can cause more harm than good.